I don't know if you've ever had a time when when the people you thought that you could trust the most ended up being the people who hurt you the most. And I think we probably all have in different ways, because the reality is that the people that we trust the most are the people that we allow into our hearts. And so they're the people who have the most opportunity to bring us joy, but also to cause us hurt. And when that kind of thing happens, it can leave us feeling exposed and vulnerable, and often simply then the process of trying to kind of think through and work through what it is that they've done is just exhausting. So we're drained, and yet at the same time as it being exhausting, we find it nearly impossible to rest because it's playing on our minds all the time. And it's not easy, is it? But David faces a time like this when he feels like pretty much everybody he thought were his friends have now become his enemies. Even his own son is against him. And I love the way that he prays in the midst of it in Psalm 3. As I talked about on Sunday, as you look at this psalm, you can see that he's real and he's honest with God. He's vulnerable with God, but he also prays confidently because he knows who it is that he's talking to. And so he prays, Lord, you are a shield around me, the one who lifts my head high. When you are feeling vulnerable and exposed, it's instinctive in that moment to pull away from people and to try and put your defenses up. But the beautiful promise that we find here is that you don't need to do that. Because even when it feels like you're surrounded by enemies, the Lord is your shield. We can stay soft-hearted. Well, we become hard-hearted because we want to try and defend ourselves, because we want to put that shield up to guard ourselves. The whole reason we can stay soft-hearted is because the Lord is the one who is the shield for us, because he doesn't allow us to be in that place where we're exposed without him. He is with us and he shields us. And when your head drops, if you'll invite him in, the promise is that he will lift your head high. Just pause and allow God to minister to your heart with that truth, that he is your shield, that he guards you, and that he will lift your head high. And I love how David then goes on and he prays in verse 5, I lie down and sleep. It seems like a simple little phrase, doesn't it? But it's an amazing thing to be able to do in the midst of what he's facing. He trusts God, and his peace in the midst of everything enables him to lie down and sleep. And sometimes I think we find it hard to pray because our mind is racing and we feel like we've got so much to do. But when you know who it is that you're talking to, then when you know who you're talking to as you pray, then you can stop and you can down tools and you can rest, because as you rest in God, you are allowing him to be the one who works for you. And I don't know if you've ever had this kind of moment where you kind of sit down to pray and you want to kind of do business with God and allow him in and to deal with a whole load of stuff. But as you sit down and you pray, as you kind of have that place of peace, you find yourself falling asleep and you kind of wake up and think, no. But I don't always think it's a bad thing. And I'm not saying it's what we should aim for in our times of prayer. Sometimes, if we try and pray at the wrong times, late at night or in the morning, it's our own silly fault and we're just choosing the wrong time to spend with God, and we need to actually give God a better quality of our time. But sometimes I think actually it's God's gift to us as we come to him and he gives us rest. So don't beat yourself up. But when you wake, thank him for it. Thank him. Say, God, thank you for allowing me rest. Thank you that you are the one who sustains me, that as I rest in you, you are working on my behalf, that you give me what I need. There are some beautiful promises in this psalm, and I just want to encourage you, take a moment, read it for yourself. Slow down and just allow the truth that is here to minister to your heart, to shape how you pray. Bless you guys. Take care.